dear students, my name is Abhijit Devnath. I am working as an assistant professor at NIT Pharmacy Institute. We are trying our best to boost up your understanding in quality assurance, so that in future you can fit to make India as a global leader in a qualitative pharmaceutical products. So, continuing our lecture, we have already seen about the various aspects of quality assurance. Today, I am going to tell you more about these things. I am going to tell you about how you can maintain, how you can do the maintenance of your equipment, what are the raw materials, how you can assemble all those things. So, these things you are going to learn: maintenance of the equipments, definition of the various raw materials and purchase specification of the raw materials, labeling of the maintenance material in storage area, maintenance of the store and raw materials. So, let me start with the maintenance of the equipments. So, you have to understand that equipment should be maintained at appropriate interval to prevent the malfunction that can affect the process of manufacturing. In my previous lecture, I have told you all the details about the equipments, how you can identify a potential equipment for your pharma company, how you can select a good equipment so that the production can be increased, how you can select a good equipment within a correct budget. Now, you have to understand that your all the equipment should maintain at appropriate interval to prevent the malfunction. Follow this word, malfunction, that can affect the process used for manufacturing. You have to understand, for example, in a typical pharma company, they got some consignment of producing 3 million tablets of 10 batches, and they are supposed to deliver that particular entire consignment, 3 million tablets, okay, TABLET. They have to deliver that particular consignment within next 10 days, okay, in next 10 days. Let me write here day 1, day 2, day 3 and goes on day 4. Now, you imagine you are using some compression machine. Okay. So, in day second, you have seen your compression machine, it is not working, and your organization, your capacity is producing 1 batch per day. Every day you can produce only 1 batch, that is 3 million tablets you can produce, and your compression machine is not working. So, in day first you have produced 1 batch, that is 3 million. In day second you will be not able to produce any single thing. At that time you have done some maintenance activity, you have corrected your compression machine, and day third you have produced, for example, another batch, 1 batch 3 million, and day fourth it is worked very well, day fifth also it was went very well, day sixth you have worked, and day 7, day 8, day 9 and day 10, everywhere it has worked very well. But in day 2 you have failed to produce sufficient amount of the product. So, whatever the target was given, that 10 batch you have to produce, and you have to give within 10 days, you actually failed to complete your this entire task. In that scenario, you will be able to give only 9 batches after 10 days. So, it is a big issue, है It will be also hampered your reputation. The people, those are actually taking manufacturing the substances from you, they will be able to lose their confidence on you. That is why it will be a big issue. So, at that scenario, what we can do or what we can proceed. So, that is why I have mentioned here, let me remove all these inks. That is why I mentioned here that affect the process, prevent the malfunction that can affect the process used in manufacturing. Then also I can tell the written procedure should be established and followed by the maintenance of equipment used for manufacturing, and the process whatever the things should be include maintenance schedule. You have seen in my previous I have drawn and I have told you how the things actually happening. If you are producing some batch during the production, due to malfunction your production got hampered, entire the production activity got stopped, obviously no production will happen. That is why in industry what we actually do? We actually do schedule maintenance. Okay. So, maintenance schedule, frequency of maintenance, calibration and validation, these things are actually happening in a periodical way, so that our entire process should not be hampered. Also assignment of responsibility for maintenance equipment, then you can also do a description of method produced used for the maintenance, protection of equipment and inspection of the equipment before use. Then also I can tell you that all the records related to equipment maintenance shall be kept for further use. Now, what are the various records? I already mentioned in my previous lecture. One of the thing is that this thing called that is a manual, then SOPs, then calibration or validation process, that is a process. Also sometimes if this instrument is actually associated with our that is a production activity, then you can also refer our BMR, MFR, okay, if it is closely associated in this case. So, this thing should be kept. Manual, you must need the manual, that should be with you. SOPs, you have to understand that SOP should be in that area, it should be pasted on the wall, where the proper validation date should be mentioned, that last time when it was validated. And sometimes what actually industries nowadays are doing, they are actually putting some QR code, What is QR code? Why they are actually posting this QR code in the wall? Because if you just open your mobile or your other devices, when you just scan on this QR code, automatically it will be redirected to you on some video or some tutorial. Okay. So, they are producing this QR code, and those areas, ancillary areas especially, or the areas where chemist can sit and study or can read the tutorial, those areas the QR code actually given. Now, definition of the raw material, we have seen lots of things. Now, come to the definition of the raw material. It is defined as the starting material used in the manufacturing of the finished product. Starting material, you are producing tablet, and your tablet is coming under after by wrap up with the packing material. Okay. Now, what about the tablet you have produced? You have used one API, plus you have used lots of excipients like binding agents, lubricating agents, disintegrating agents. Okay. You might have used some stabilizing agents, you might be used have some that means agents which might have help in the help to the disintegration or dissolution, other things. You might have agents some agents which also used as in coloring agents. So, all those things you actually used to make the tablet. Other than you have used lots of packing material for packing. So, packing material, your all the ingredients, these things will be called as the starting material, and that starting material is known as the raw material. Okay. So, purchase specification, how you will purchase the raw material, what will the specification for purchasing. So, regarding the purchasing of raw material, following points should be considered. What are the things? First is the cost. No pharma industry will allow you to purchase the high cost raw material until and unless it is showing good quality. until and unless it is showing good quality. Pharma industries are happy to spend millions of money if the raw materials quality is very good. Then identity, that is identity, purity and quality of the raw material. Vendor selection, very important. Vendor selection is very important, because good vendor will give you the very good grade product, good grade raw materials. But some vendors, those are not professionally following the ethics, they can sell the substandard products also, which is a very sad thing, negative thing and disgraceful things for our pharma profession. Then storage condition, then also labeling of raw materials, instruction for sampling and frequency for re-examination of the stored material. So, if you consider these following points, then you will be ready for the purchase of your this substance. Now, cost material, obviously I told you, if the product is very costly, but showing a very good quality, pharma industry will be happy to do this. So, the raw material expenses refer to the cost of the components go into the final manufacturing product. If the raw material price is very high, obviously the cost of the final product will be also very high. Then the identity, purity and quality. Raw materials analysis is essential to determine the purity, identity and quality. You see, when the purchasing manager allowed for the purchase and when the product is actually coming, the raw material is actually coming and it is kept in the quarantine area, that time some quality control chemist and quality assurance chemist, they will come to the picture. Quality assurance chemist will take some samples, will send to quality control chemist, he or she will check about its purity, identity and quality, give the certificate, and then from quarantine area it will be able to move for the storage area. So, these things are very much important during our purchasing. Then vendor selection, I already told you, materials should be purchased from source vendor only and approved suppliers from the manufacturer. Nowadays, in the era of what I can say, dark internet, nowadays lots of vendors are available, they can give the raw material from a very less cost, but with compromising the quality. So, those are, they are actually not approved, they are not actually approved suppliers, unapproved suppliers. To get the approval, you have to take the government authorities, they will come to your area where you are actually selling your vending activity. They will check whether you are storing your other capacities are correct or not. After that, they will give you the approval and you will become a approved supplier. But the unethical people, unethical persons, they are actually trying to sell without government approval in a very low cost. That is why some MSME type companies, sometimes they actually happy to take such things. So, you should not allow such kind of practices. I am very happy that government agencies are doing very good work to control such kind of practices. Choice of vendor should be primarily based on the quality consideration, and supplier manufacturer of the material should have this name listed in company's approved vendor list. Storage condition, appropriate special storage condition should be required. For example, store at low temperature or low humidity away from the direct light. Okay, these things will be come to the picture. Some of the raw material we have to store at a very low temperature. Some of the raw materials we can kept in normal room temperature. Okay. So, you have to ensure all those things, then you should it should be clearly monitored. If you store something in this temperature or this that is a controlling all those things, this should be clearly monitored. And most important, labeling on the raw material. You are very much happy with some vendor, you have the specification, your the vendor whatever things are actually providing, it is complying with all the specification. Now, you are ready to purchase. You have given the money, the purchase order is ready. Now, this things actually coming, this raw material is actually coming to your quarantine area, to your company. You have to see the labels, name and code number of the product, what it should be there and it should be correct. Then the batch number given by the supplier, storage condition, melting point, boiling point, molecular weight, expiry date and handling hazard associated with the raw material. Also, what are the precaution or safety measures you are supposed to take, that thing you have to see. All the things should be that is available in the level of the raw material. Then sampling, I have told you na, that when you are actually that is purchasing some raw material, it will first come to the quarantine area of your company, which is also a part of storage, but during quarantine area some of the sample will be taken by QA chemist, they will send it to QC chemist, they will check this the quality, purity and other things, and they will give the certification. If it is correct, then it will move forward into the storage area and then it will be ready for the production area. So, the sampling, when QA chemist actually coming, they are sampling, how they will do the sampling. There are various process of sampling. One of the most common process is the random screening. You can see in this picture, let me highlight these things again. You can see, for example, these are the huge amounts of bundles, huge amounts of bundles, where all the raw materials are actually available. Random sampling, anywhere you can see yellow dots, means anywhere you have taken some sample. You can also do stratified sampling from some areas particular. You can also do systematic sampling like this, systematic. You can also do cluster sampling, multi-stage sampling, convenient sampling and voluntary sampling, but most commonly random sampling is actually being used. Then frequency of re-examination. So, frequency of re-examination of stored raw material are very important. Why? Analyze at duration of the first, second, third and 6th month or 12th month of description, water, LOD, purity, assay and other relevant test as per the requirement of the particular product. All the raw material should be checked with following things, like whatever I have mentioned, that name of the manufacturer supplier, name of the product material, then batch number, date of manufacturing and expiry and quantity received and number of container actually packages, condition of container and material. Labeling is also of the material in storage area is also very important. See, labeling will be there already in the raw material, but when you are keeping in the storage area, there should be a separate label. There should be a separate label with more description, with more details. So, they already name of the product and code will be there, batch number will be also there, storage condition it should be ensured with more details. How we will handle when the raw material actually given to you by the vendor, at that time they will mention that thing, but if you are going to use that raw material for your purposes, there are chances handling might be different. It depends on your what kind of product you are actually producing. Hazards, what are actually associated with it, precaution, what are to be taken, safety measures and expiry date beyond which retesting is actually necessary. Retesting, otherwise it will become toxic. It will become toxic. That is why retesting is actually necessary. So, how you will do the maintenance of that is a store of raw material. So, first is the you should there should be sufficient area capacity of the store of the raw material, then the area used for store of raw material should be clean, dry and maintained with the acceptable limit of environmental condition. Then there should be a well equipped or appropriate designed reception area for receipt of the raw material. There should be a separate area of sampling. I have told you in my previous slide about the sampling, this thing sampling. So, for sampling there should be a separate area, and there should be separate area for storage for rejected, record on return material. And yes, what will be the storage condition? For general product, For general product, the storage condition is the room temperature, value 25 degree centigrade. Relative humidity almost 60%. The product requiring storage in air condition, in that case it should be 25 degree plus minus 2, and relative relative humidity should be 45 to 55%. Okay. So, you have seen there are two different stages. Also, product requiring very low temperature, in that case 2 to 8 degree centigrade, and separate sterile product for the AC under sterile production sterile condition. Light sensitive material in amber color container, because photoelectric effect. If light may fall on the substance, it will be there will be some reaction, it will be the substance will become degrade. So, today in this lecture we have seen about the maintenance of the equipment. We also have learned about the definition of raw materials, what should be the purchase specification of raw materials, and labeling of raw that is material in the storage area, and ultimately maintenance of store for raw materials. My dear students, I hope all of you have enjoyed my today's session, and with this we are almost completing our this unit, and in this unit you have very correctly your understanding of quality assurance in pharma industry now very much clear to you all. I hope in future if you join any pharma company or pharma industry, this knowledge will help you a lot to maintain the quality. My dear students, our India is rising in terms of pharmaceutical sector. Our contribution in GDP is very high. I am very happy Government of India is doing lots of activities, lots of support, financial support, administrative support, and also they are actually trying their best to make ease of doing business. So, our pharmaceutical products will come to the market and they will be able to capture the market only when we will able to develop qualitative product. By quality, our pharmaceutical product should be sufficient and good, it should be fit for use, so that people may take it and it may show its proper therapeutic activity. You have seen how our all the activities are happening, production, QC, QA, how all the sections are associated together to make good quality product. You also have seen how the products are actually coming and how you are actually storing in the stored area, and with doing all such sampling and other things, you are when QC and QA chemists actually ensuring this product is correct, then you are going for the production. During production also again lots of checkings are actually happening, and after production in storage area also you are maintaining the various condition, then you are with maintaining the proper storage condition, with maintaining proper transport condition, you are actually giving that into the market. My dear students, we India, our demand of Indian pharmaceuticals is rising day by day. So, as a student of B Pharmacy or M Pharmacy or pharmaceutical associated courses, it is my request to all of you that you should ensure good quality product in your future journey. Thank you all of you. Thank you for listening my this lecture. We may meet in our next time. Thank you all of you. God bless.